We're pretty stoked because Aladdin was announced probably like 2 years ago, and they were doing a live action, and right away we're like, well, wait a minute, who's going to play Aladdin? Who's going to play Aladdin? And then we not only was it announced, we saw the trailers. We were lucky enough that now we are joined in studio by Aladdin himself. Mena Massoud is in studio.
Yeah,
how are you, man?
Thanks for having me, man.
It's good to have
thanks
you,
for
brother.
having me. It's good. I was interviewed by Collider for the first time at South by Southwest a couple months ago.
Who was it? Did they embarrass us?
No, they did a
Perry?
terrific job. Did a terrific job.
Nice. Okay, very cool. I think it was Perry. Yeah. Very cool. Listen, is this crazy or what?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't really feel it yet because I've
Yeah.
been traveling around the world in my own little bubble. So,
On a magic carpet?
on a
you
magic
go.
carpet.
There's going to be too many of those. I'm sorry.
And they're
there's
all gonna come from
be-
you.
Yeah, there's gonna be
Is
a
it a
lot
whole
of them.
new world for you?
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God.
There's a lot.
Do you want me to shut their mics
Yeah,
off?
it's been shining, shimmering, and splendid.
Look, all right, gotta shut my own mic
My
off.
whole heart.
Yeah, there it is. Tell me about the process, though, man. Like so obviously, were you a big fan of the animated kind of growing up, or?
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
I grew up with it. I'm Egyptian, and I had two older sisters, so they had it playing on at the house before I could even walk and talk.
Yeah.
And then Robin Williams was an inspiration of mine to become an actor, so I had it on at the house all the time for a multitude of reasons.
So when you heard that they were doing this, did you just say, "I gotta get in"?
Yeah, the first time I saw it, actually, I just saw like an open casting call online, and I called my agents, and I was like, hey, I know this is a long shot, but I'm getting an audition for this, right? They're like, yeah, sure, shoot yourself on tape for it. Which, for any actor, whenever you have to shoot yourself on tape for something, it means it might never get seen. Because
Yeah.
it goes in
Might.
like...
So you shoot it then, and you just say, okay, and you have that mentality of, look, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna give it my all, throw it out there, and see what happens. And then do you forget about it until you hear something back?
Yeah, especially in this case, because we didn't hear back for 4 months.
Wow.
So usually, if you don't hear back within a couple of weeks, you're
Think
like,
it's
okay,
over, right.
it's dead in the water. So I totally forgot about it. The first time my reps actually called me, to do another tape 4 months later, they were like, hey, remember that project you were really excited about? And I was like, no.
It's 4 months ago. Refresh, remember.
And they're like, come on, you were like checking in for a while about it. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
Why didn't they just say what it was? They weren't allowed to legally.
they-
tell you.
no, wanted to build this up.
They wanted to
Yes.
be like,
Right.
get excited.
Right, and so you do. 4 months later, you go back in, and then what's the process? Because do you get cast first, or do they get Will Smith in there first?
No, they get Will Smith first. I
Okay.
heard that Will was going to play it far before I think we even heard back the
Interesting.
first time. Yeah, so 4 months goes by, and then I have to put another tape together. My parents were going away with my family on vacation for the weekend, just a quick little getaway. So I had to cancel that so I could put this tape together and did that. And then things started moving. I flew to London twice to test for it with Naomi, and rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, because that's always an intimidating too. We talked about that. I forget who was in here last week, and we said it's always about the chemistry, because if
Yeah.
that doesn't work, especially with Jasmine and Aladdin.
Yeah.
So what's that like then with the meeting then too? Did you guys go out to lunch? You kind of figure out what it is, like, or you just do the read up top first?
Yeah, when we were testing, we didn't spend too much time together. We met, but we got along right away. She's a very similar energy to mine. We grew up in similar households. And then when we got cast, I mean, we spent, out of anyone else on the cast and crew, I spent the most time with her. We actually lived in the same apartment building, so we'd go to each other's flats for lunch and dinner and just,
Read
talk.
lines and stuff and do it.
Yeah, and talk about life and our upbringings and, where we came from, all sorts of stuff.
Did you test with anybody else?
I did, yes.
And were you rooting for her?
Yeah, I knew Naomi was the right person for it right off the bat, I think. Yeah, she was just the strongest actress and singer. The other people testing, they were either strong actors or strong singers, but they weren't, they didn't have both.
For something so big, were you singing? Were you?
Oh,
doing-
yeah. The first time I went to London to test, I spent a week there. I spent a week with the choreographer and the vocal team over there. Wow. And we just spent a team prepping to test, which usually isn't the case. Usually you'll just fly in, you'll test the same day, you leave. Like, that's it. But for this, I was like there for a week to prep for the test.
Is it easier because, and I don't know which song they had you sing for the test, but is it easier if they're familiar because you know the movie so well?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny, you know, I tested with I think one of the tests I tested with Prince Ali, which isn't even Aladdin's song in the film, but I think they wanted to see what I would do with it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of room to play in that particular number. So, yeah.
And when it comes to Will Smith, now because obviously the relationship between Genie and Aladdin is that's another one now. It's crucial.
Yeah.
So what's that first meeting like? When do you get to meet Will? And
Did you bring your copy of Bad Boys or Bad Boys 2 for him to sign?
No, neither. I think you should never do that.
Well, I'm out.
Anyway, you're not playing Aladdin anytime soon. I'll tell you that.
No, I was really nervous actually, but I was in the middle of my prep time. We had 6 weeks of prep before we went to camera, and he came in finally one day, and I was like, all right, this is it. I'm meeting Will. So he was talking with Guy, and I was like, this is perfect because Guy Ritchie will just, he'll break the ice a little bit.
Yeah.
Went over there, Guy just stared at me, smiling. And I think he was finding it amusing because I was so nervous I forgot to introduce myself, and Will thought I was just one of the dancers.
Oh, really?
He had no idea who you were.
No, he didn't. Well, it didn't click to him. I think I looked different because I had my hair chemically straightened at that point, and we were getting, into the prep.
Yeah.
And I walked away, and I was like, he has no idea who I am. I'm going to go back and introduce myself.
Oh, you did. So you did.
Yeah. I went back, and then he gave me a big hug, and we
cool.
started talking. But I was pretty nervous. Forgot to introduce myself.
Well, I'm sure, and all that stuff's got to be intimidating. But then, especially because you look what Disney's been doing with these movies and how they've gone. And right now, Disney's is just juggernaut in general with all the success they've been having with Marvel and Star Wars. But the live action, the animated to live action is another kind of their bread and butter, what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And they've been putting a lot of effort into these movies. So when you're on set and you see what they're able to do, is it intimidating? Is it exciting? What is it?
That not so much. I think I took comfort in the fact that they were looking for a long time to find the right people, and when I came along, I just kind of gave them what I got, and I was like, either you like it and you think it's right, or you don't, and you move on. I've been in positions before where I've tested for things and haven't booked them, and it sucks, but you learn to deal with it, and you kind of go, all right, this one wasn't meant for me. Sure.
Anything that you really wanted that you tested for, you're talking about specifically?
Yeah, there was this this show on, I think, the CW that I had tested for with Jeremy Piven, which ended up only lasting 8 episodes, which actually, if I had ended up doing, I wouldn't have been able to do Aladdin. But at the time, I was like, damn it. And I even told my reps, there's a rule with me and my reps now. It's like, if I test for something and I do not book it, just text me and tell me, do not call me. And for this particular case, he called me, my manager, and I was like, I got it. I got the show. And he was like, you didn't get it. I was like, dude, what happened to our rule, man?
We've been over this.
We've been over it. It's true. Well, when you got the role of Aladdin, friends, and because this is a huge role, man. This is big. I mean, it's an iconic role.
Yeah.
So friends and family, obviously very supportive. But what's people start trying to give you advice on how to play Aladdin or what they, because it's so the role's so near and dear to people.
No, not so much advice. I think people people reaching out that you haven't talked to in years, or that you've kind of let that relationship die, and now it's like, they're trying to rekindle that relationship. More of that kind of thing.
Is being on a magic carpet with just a green screen all around you, is it just an awkward time to just act?
They did this incredible job. That those factory arms that put cars together.
Yeah.
They got one of those, 2 of those actually, and on one of them they put a camera, and on the other one they put this carpet rig that had 32 different points of hydraulics.
Wow.
And so the carpet actually moved any which way
here, really?
you wanted it to. Yeah. And on top of that, on both sides, they put these 2 big LED screens where they could project something for you to kind of feel it. So they'd have dolphins coming out of the water, or during the Cave of Wonder sequence, fire and lava. So you'd be so they did a fantastic job.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're standing on top of this hydraulics machine. Are you nervous that you're going to fall?
You're wired in because it's 30 feet off the ground.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, you're wired in. It's funny, actually. Me and Naomi would be doing touch-ups for each other because it'd be so hard for people to get to us sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Have you had a chance to see the movie yet?
I did. I saw it the first time in London a couple of weeks ago.
So here's my question then, and so when I like Guy Ritchie, I've been a fan, from Snatch and Sherlock Holmes and a lot of his movies.
Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Right, which is very underrated, by the way. I think that movie.
Very, I think it's his most underrated film.
I think so too. And what I liked about that movie though too was I think that it definitely had his style of the stuff that he did, but I thought that the spy movie, kind of took over more so than just the style. So is there a lot of Guy Ritchie's like unique style in this movie, or is it focused on this is Aladdin, this is the tale with expansion?
That's one of the things I love most about Guy. He kind of, once he builds that trust with you as an actor, he lets you kind of do your thing and bring your own take on it, but he puts his own flavor to it and his own style. So I think people leave it, like you, for example, Guy's films. Yeah. So I guarantee you when you leave the movie tonight, you'll be like, yeah, that was a Guy Ritchie film.
Okay, so I'll know that he likes certain things, because I thought because even with like King Arthur, you can tell that there was a lot of Guy Ritchie stuff in there too.
Yeah. You'll leave being like, that was a Guy Ritchie movie film in like the best way possible, combining it with like this Disney film.
Boris the Blade just comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, that's his.
Yeah. Well, I know you're Egyptian. Where were you born?
I was born in Egypt.
You were born in Egypt. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I was born in Cairo.
I did not know that. When did you come over? Here?
We immigrated to Toronto when I was 3.5.
Okay.
And then I moved to LA the beginning of 2017.
Oh wow. Okay, cool. So when did you start? You started acting in Canada?
Yeah, I started acting in Canada. I had a restaurant job. I worked at a restaurant for 3 years part-time. I did the whole thing. I went to theater school. So after theater school, I just started working at a restaurant and hustling on the side. And
you knew you were gonna get over here eventually to LA?
That was, you have to, because it takes so long for Canadians and Australians and Brits, because we have to apply for our visa and we have to get a special acting visa and all that kind of stuff, and that takes months.
Now, did your family
sometimes
come out with you too? Your family stayed in Canada?
No, they're back they're still in Toronto.
They're still in Toronto.
Yeah.
So and they're pretty supportive.
Yeah,
that now I'm sure.
Yeah, they
supportive.
are now.
Right.
Yeah, no, they kind of, I broke their hearts a little bit when I left neuroscience, because I was studying neuroscience at the University of Toronto for a year, and then I left to go to theater school. So that was really where I broke their hearts, and when I went to theater school. But after that, it was just them getting over it.
Right. And now, again, like we joke, but it's seriously too. It's like it's all good, guys.
And working at a restaurant too, they're like, we are so sad that you are working at a restaurant now. This is not the dream we had for you when we moved from Cairo.
That conversation is very different today.
Yeah, it's like, we are so happy you worked at that restaurant.
Are they coming tonight to the premiere?
They are actually,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, so I was telling you before we went on air that I take my daughter to these because she's a huge Disney fan, like the rest of us, and Aladdin's one of her favorites too. So she's what I like about this too is I always say, because and this is when you find someone who's like yourself, to where you're determined, you want to get this big role, and until today, this is the first time I've met you. Now I'm going to be more familiar with your work, and that's going to be a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So my daughter is going to see this first time, and she's going to know you as Aladdin, which I think is so exciting and so cool that so many people get to now get introduced to you.
Yeah, I'd rather be known as Aladdin than not that I wouldn't love to play him, but like Batman. I'd love to play superhero, but I think it's cool to, like you said, my big coming out will be for Aladdin and not like The Flash or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, why would you rather that?
Because I think it has more nostalgic, emotional connection to people. Aladdin, and it hasn't been done before. That's the other thing. Like superheroes have been done a lot, and I want to play a superhero or a villain. Don't get me wrong, but Aladdin's pretty. How many superheroes are there, and then how many like Aladdin characters are there?
Yeah. Who do you want to play? If you have been dreaming of being a villain or superhero, who have you got in mind?
I've been thinking about Nightwing for a while. I had heard that they wanted to do that, and I think that would be cool to explore and do. He's very different. There's rumors. I think it would be cool. Watch, they're going to steal my idea. I think it would be cool to do a Nightwing trilogy where you see his evolution from Nightwing to the Joker. Because it's in the comic books. It's rumored that the character playing Nightwing is the same guy who eventually turns into the Joker.
So you want to be that guy?
Yeah, like to do that transition trilogy of like going from a superhero to a villain, that hasn't been done before.
You're a big comic book guy, it seems like.
Not too big, but I mean, I love superheroes. You know?
Yeah.
I'm born in the '90s, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll look at
DC. Don't steal my idea before giving me a meeting first.
Yeah, but you have a look. Disney though. Now you're in this Disney family. I mean, it's a good place to be. You got Disney Plus. You got the Marvel shows out there now. I mean, the other side of it, you got Star Wars movies out there.
I'm actually doing a Hulu show after this called Reprisal. The great Warren Littlefield is producing, and
What's that about?
It's about this woman who is almost killed by her husband and her brother, who are in a gang. And you fast forward 7 years later, and she wants to get revenge, and I go undercover in the gang for her to try to overthrow them.
That's
with her.
pretty awesome.
Yeah,
How
it's
are
really-
you
it's
related
pretty.
to the woman?
We basically meet in Detroit over the 7 years, and we cultivate like a brother-sister relationship. And it's complicated. I don't want to ruin the pilot, but you'll have to see it. It comes out hopefully in December.
In
of
December?
2019.
Awesome.
Did you keep anything from the set of Aladdin? Like the lamp or anything
Not that he's going
like
to tell us on air.
Yeah, I had to sneak a few things away, but I would like the lamp. I mean, I requested it. You'd think they'd give it to the guy playing
Will
Aladdin.
Smith just
but-
brings it to the premiere. Like, all right, I gotcha.
Yeah.
well, Steph Curry has it apparently now. Have you seen that?
No.
Have you not seen the Steph Curry Aladdin commercials?
No.
He like goes up to the lamp that's in the film, and he's like, 3 wishes, right? And I was like, that's my lamp.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
the actual lamp?
Yeah, it's the actual
Oh, that's
lamp.
great.
Because
Yeah.
ABC is playing the NBA.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I think they wanted, like, if there was any team that they were like, all right, we got to shoot this months ahead. Who are we gonna pick? It's like
Smart.
the Warriors,
Right, right.
like, you know.
Yeah,
Well, they
yeah.
released a few clips from the movie, obviously on the video, the music that came out from Like Me, and then there's been trailers. There's a lot of stuff that we're very familiar with, you know, that we've seen in the animated. Was
Yeah.
there something in particular that you geeked out at when you knew it was the first day that you were going to be able to do it, or B, like what was the most fun for you to shoot?
Yeah, one jump for
Yeah, oh,
me,
you're cool.
you know, because I think that's where you fall in love with Aladdin in the animation. Not that that'll necessarily happen in this one, but that in the animation.
Call your shot, dude. Call your shot.
Right, you're right.
And he gets to do all this cool stuff. So I was like, man, I want to get to do all this cool stuff, and I did. Like, Guy took it to the next level. At one point, he just wanted one shot that looked like a GoPro shot. So they built this rig that I had to wear on my body, this like 30-pound vest. They attached one of their cameras to it, and then I had to do a part of the one jump sequence with it on me. So it was cool.
bad.
Like, yeah, I got to do some badass stuff in that
Sounds
sequence.
awesome.
Is there anything you think, and obviously no spoilers, but that's going to particularly surprise us? Do you think there's something that we don't expect coming?
You know, I think the relationships between all the characters will surprise you. You know, I think Robin did an incredible job in the first one, obviously in the animation. But I think because he was so good, a lot of the attention just focused on the genie, and you kind of lost a little bit of like the relationship between him and Aladdin, the relationship between Aladdin and Jasmine. So I think the relationship will surprise you, and I think where the movie's headed on Jasmine's storyline will surprise you.
Is Jafar going to creep me out the way he did in animated? Because I haven't seen enough about him yet.
Yeah. Listen, man, Marwan Kenzari is an incredible actor. I think anyone who looks at his filmography will be surprised with how many things he's in. And he plays the Guy Ritchie way in that he's playing a con man.
Yeah.
You know, he's not playing that like long
Creeped
bearded
out wizard
villain
looking,
like
yeah.
you know, because also it was weird a little bit in the animation, no? Like how old he was and how young Jasmine was.
Right.
But in this, he's playing like a con man. And that's what he is. That's the essence of Jafar. He's just like a dude who wants to take over the throne, and he's young and malicious, and that's the way he plays
The
it.
way you're describing this right now, because we've been talking about Guy Ritchie, Aladdin a lot on this show, and like what it's going to look like, how much Guy Ritchie. The way you're describing it gets me more and more excited. Like now, this is almost like a heist film.
You should be.
Right?
You
Yeah.
should be excited.
Can you roll an apple down your arm and then bounce it up?
Yes, and I had to learn how to juggle, even though it didn't make the final cut.
Oh,
so
no.
I learned how. Man,
now
I
you're a
learned
juggler. It's
I
good
learned
skill.
so many things for this that didn't
Yeah.
end up making the cut. Like I had to learn how to play the oud, which is a classical Middle Eastern string instrument, and they brought in this like the only oud player in all of London that can play the oud, and like they brought him in, and we rehearsed, and and then Guy on the day of was like, you know what? I think Naomi's gonna play it. I think Jasmine should play the oud in this, and I was like, what?
Did she know how though? Had she been training?
No, like she picks things up really quickly. They taught her a couple of strings, and you know they made it work. But
walk into your next audition, it's like, well, I can play the oud.
yeah, I can play the oud.
You guys need an oud guy?
I'm the oud.
And I can juggle and play the oud.
At the same time, and scuba dive underwater all at the same time.
Can Nightwing do any of that? You need Nightwing to play the oud?
Yeah, it's on his special skills.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it's true, man. It's super exciting, man. This movie is going to be crazy. It's going to be a juggernaut, and that's
Thanks,
again.
man.
I like the fact that you're the way that you're embracing it too, to where it's like because there are some people you can get intimidated by it, but if you just kind of grab it by the horns and take this thing for what it is, it could be really exciting.
Yeah, I think things are meant for you. They happen, and obviously I would have loved to have this opportunity like year 2 of my career, but the fact that I got it in like year 8 of my career, I think it really just helped me be prepared and ready for it. So I hope that when you go see it, that comes out. Those 8 years of experience kind of come out in the film.
Well, we're excited to see the movie. As everyone knows, Aladdin, it comes out today. Mena Massoud, thank you so much for joining us in studio
guys.
today. Make sure that you check out Aladdin. I'm sure you're going to be seeing it, and we'll be talking about it for sure, and I can't wait to talk about the movie. What's wrong?
It doesn't come out today. We're seeing
I didn't say
it
today. Did I say it comes out today?
Yeah.
Didn't
Well,
mean that.
there's probably
We're
early
gonna-
screenings in the next couple of days.
We're seeing it today.
It
Comes out on Friday. So make sure that you check that movie out, Aladdin. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.